You think millionaires are the ones you see on TV, the luxury cars, the designer logos, the huge mansions on cliffside lots. Think again. The richest person on your block might be the quiet neighbor who waters his lawn at 6 a.m. and drives a 20-year-old sedan. He doesn't post his net worth. He's not on social media. He simply did one thing over and over: built wealth in silence. Today, we're ripping off the mask on the myth of wealth. We're diving into the real, proven habits, the quiet rules that make ordinary people extraordinarily wealthy. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what they do differently, why it works, and how you can start tonight. Ready? The Millionaire Next Door shocked America because it told a truth most of us don't want to hear. Becoming wealthy usually isn't glamorous. It's methodical. It's boring. It's predictable. The people who build true wealth do low-glamour things consistently, for a long time. And the rules are not rocket science. They're discipline, habit, and strategy. What would your life look like if you could quietly convert your paycheck into a future that gives you freedom, not just status? That's what we're about to design. Act 1: The myth versus the reality. Let's kill a myth right now. Hollywood sells an image: quick success, instant wealth, flashy lifestyle. But the data tells a different story. In America, the majority of personal wealth is held by people who live modestly, people who value net worth over income and savings rate over showing off. Imagine two people, one with a six-figure salary and a mortgage, leased BMW, and constant credit card payments. The other, a family with a modest home, an older minivan, and fully funded retirement accounts. Which one is richer? Not by lifestyle, by net worth. The second family wins. And that's the whole point. The Millionaire Next Door lays out the habits that create this hidden wealth. We'll break them into 7 core laws, and for each law, I'll give you a real-world example, the precise logic behind it, and a simple action you can take today. Let's begin. The most repeated lesson from America's self-made millionaires is painfully simple. Spend far less than you earn. Not a little less, significantly less. This is where wealth is born. Story example: the retired mechanic. Vignette. Meet Tom. He spent 35 years as a mechanic in a small Ohio town. He never chased titles or promotions. He lived in the same house he bought in 1985, paid it off, drove his truck into the ground, and saved a steady 20% of his take-home pay. No flashy vacations, no expensive hobbies. By his early 60s, Tom quietly had over $2 million invested, money that paid for his grandchildren's college and gave him a peaceful retirement. Living below your means is not only about spending less, it's about avoiding lifestyle inflation. When your income increases, many people increase their expenses in step. Millionaires resist that urge. They escalate savings, investments, and ownership of productive assets instead. Track every expense for 30 days. Category buckets. Automate savings. Set an automatic transfer for at least 15 to 25% of income into investments before you see it. Delay large purchases for 30 days. Most impulse buys fade. Set internal rules. No car less than 5 years paid off. Or no new tech purchases for 6 months. Here's the truth. Generosity, contentment, and security are built by restraint. That sacrifice today is the freedom you'll celebrate tomorrow. There's a big difference between being cheap and being frugal. Cheap tries to avoid cost at all expense. Frugal chooses value and avoids waste. Millionaires don't hoard, they steward. Story example: Samantha the school nurse. Samantha lives in Phoenix and works as a school nurse. She buys high-quality goods that last. Her sneakers are well-maintained. She fixes things rather than replaces them. She buys second-hand tools and a used washing machine that's been tested. The result? She spends less over time and directs the extra money into a rental property investment. Frugality is strategic. It's buying well, repairing, and focusing spending on things that appreciate, or at least provide durable utility. Frugality also minimizes regret purchases and keeps more capital available for investment. Actionable steps. Before you buy, ask, will this add value for 5 or more years? When possible, buy quality used. Cars, cameras, certain tools. Create a frugality checklist for purchases over $200. Redirect savings from frugal choices into investments weekly. Frugal people aren't penny pinching. They're wealth building in disguise. Millionaires invest first, then live off the remainder, not the other way around. They prioritize money working for them. Compound growth of investments beats short-term lifestyle upgrades every time. Example: the couple who chose index funds. Meet Rachel and Marcus. In their late 20s, they chose to max out retirement accounts and invest aggressively in low-cost index funds. Friends bought bigger houses and more expensive cars. They rented a small place and invested the difference. 15 years later, their investments grew to a level that allowed both to reduce work hours and travel. Something their friends, with higher incomes but zero savings, never achieved. Explain the mechanism. Compound interest is the multiplier of time. A small investment made repeatedly and consistently snowballs. It's not about beating the market. It's about consistent participation in growth. The Millionaire Next Door philosophy emphasizes low-cost, long-term investing. Index funds, dividend reinvestment, rental property cash flow. Actionable steps. Start automatic monthly contributions into retirement and brokerage accounts. Prioritize low-cost funds, index funds, or ETFs. Reinvest dividends. Use tax-advantaged accounts first. 401k, IRA. Would you rather buy a luxury watch today or a retirement account that pays for your next 30 years of mornings in peace? Not all careers are created equal for wealth building. The Millionaire Next Door found that certain professions produce disproportionate numbers of self-made millionaires. Business owners, dentists, engineers, real estate investors, and certain sales careers, primarily because they offer leverage and ownership opportunities. Example: from technician to business owner. Carlos was an IT technician. He learned his craft on the job, then launched a small managed IT services firm. Over 10 years, he scaled to 5 employees and sold the company, profiting far more than he would have from a lifetime of hourly wages. Ownership and scalability made the difference. Also, choosing partners, personal life. Millionaires often choose financial partners wisely. A partner who supports saving and investing multiplies your success. A partner who splurges can have your progress. That's not judgment, that's strategy. Actionable steps. Map career trajectories. Where does ownership or scalability exist? Invest in skills that enable you to add value. Sales, marketing, product development. Have open money conversations with partners. Align values and goals. If entrepreneurship is your path, plan for scalability from day one. You're not judged by your job title. You're judged by the assets you build. Choose work that can produce assets. Law 5. Allocate time wisely. The 24-hour rule. Money is replaceable. Time is not. Millionaires guard their time like royalty. They treat time as capital, investing it in high-leverage activities that yield the greatest return. Example: the founder who outsourced. Karen ran an online education business. Early on, she tried to do everything herself: editing videos, customer service, bookkeeping. Her progress plateaued. She hired help for low-value tasks and spent her time on sales and product creation. Revenue doubled in a year. The lesson? Free your time to do the work only you can do. Practical steps. Track your time for 1 week. Identify low-value activities. Delegate, automate, or eliminate tasks that don't move the needle. Time block for deep work. 90-minute focus sessions for skill development or income-generating work. Protect family time and rest. Productivity compounds with rest and focus. If you want wealth, stop doing things you can pay someone else to do and start doing things you can't pay anyone to do for you. Law 6. Avoid status purchases. Status purchases, new cars, expensive designer labels, luxury toys bought to impress, are the biggest wealth killers. The millionaire next door doesn't care about other people's impressions. They care about financial independence. Example: the two graduates. Two friends graduate with the same degree. Sam buys a brand new SUV to feel successful. Alex buys a used car and invests the rest into a business. 10 years later, Sam has high payments and little net worth. Alex has a growing passive income and financial options. Why it matters? Explain. Status purchases give short-term satisfaction but long-term liability. Millionaires invest for future consumption, not consume for present status. Action steps. Delay big purchases until you have 3 to 5 years of investment discipline established. When buying a car, calculate total cost of ownership, not sticker price. Replace status hunting with wealth-building metrics: net worth, passive cash flow, investments. Which would you rather have? A photo to impress people today, or the freedom to live on your own terms tomorrow? Law 7. Pass on the habit of wealth. True wealth isn't just dollars. It's knowledge passed down. The Millionaire Next Door shows that millionaires raise children differently. They teach responsibility, delayed gratification, and financial literacy. Example: the backyard workshop. Marcus taught his son how to budget their allowance by giving 3 jars: spend, save, give. When his son asked why they weren't buying the expensive toy, Marcus explained compounding and investment. Years later, that son chose a career and financial habits that led to stability and early investments. A real-life transfer of human capital. Practical parenting steps. Start early with allowance systems that include saving plus investing. Model financial behavior. Children mimic visible habits. Teach business basics: value creation, customer service, profit. Wealth that dies with you is not wealth. It's a temporary number. Teach habits, and it becomes a legacy. Minor interlude, pattern interrupt. If you're still scrolling, stop. Pick one law, one action. Do it this week. That's all. Wealth isn't a single event. It's a sequence of tiny, disciplined choices. Act 3. The Millionaire Mindset Shift. What if I told you the real wealth isn't measured by what you see, but by what you don't? The quiet decisions made in the shadows. The sacrifices no one claps for. The patience that feels like forever, but eventually changes everything. The core message. In this final act, we shift from just financial tips to the deep identity change that separates ordinary earners from true wealth builders. It's about rewiring your brain to think like the people who don't need to prove they're rich, because they already know they are. Mindset principle number 1: freedom over flex. Real millionaires measure success in time and freedom, not likes on Instagram. Example: a millionaire in Ohio who drives a 10-year-old Toyota because he prefers owning his time over a car payment. You can rent status. You can't rent freedom. Mindset principle number 2. The long game wins. Every dollar you spend now is a soldier that could be working for you in the future. Example, if you invest $500 a month in an index fund starting at 25, by 55, you could have over $1 million without ever winning the lottery. Cinematic flash of a calendar flipping through decades with money graph rising. Mindset principle number 3. Silence is power. The wealthiest people aren't broadcasting their moves. They're making them in silence. Example, the neighbor who never talked about money but retired early because he invested quietly for 30 years. Loud money is usually new money. Quiet money lasts generations. Cinematic emotional story. Closing scene. A man in his 60s sits on a porch swing, sipping coffee. His granddaughter runs up to him holding a drawing of a house. He smiles because he knows he can gift her a future without debt, without stress. He didn't get there by showing off. He got there by living simply, investing consistently, and thinking long-term. Every millionaire next door started with a choice. They chose to say no when everyone else said yes. They chose patience over instant pleasure. And they chose to build quietly. You don't need to move to Wall Street to become wealthy. You just need to start where you are, today. Because the only thing standing between you and financial freedom is the story you tell yourself about money. If you're ready to rewrite your money story, hit subscribe. Your first million won't be built in public, but it will start right here.